Lily Morgan knew two things for certain. 1. Life wasn't fair. 2. Working for Alexander Blackwood, CEO of Blackwood Industries, was both the best and worst thing that had ever happened to her. It was the best because the salary was generous enough to keep her from living paycheck to paycheck. The worst because Alexander Blackwood was complicated. Tall, dark, and intimidating, Alexander was the type of man who could command a room with a single glance. His tailored suits fit perfectly, his dark hair always styled like he had just stepped off a magazine cover. He was calm, controlled, and ruthlessly efficient. He was also engaged to a nightmare named Vanessa Pierce. Vanessa was exactly what you'd expect from a woman engaged to a billionaire. She was blonde, beautiful, and had the kind of cutting smile that could make a person question their entire existence. Unfortunately for Lily, Vanessa had made it her life's mission to torment her. And since Vanessa was engaged to Alexander, Lily's boss, Lily couldn't exactly tell her to back off. Not if she wanted to keep her job. Lily hurried into the glass-walled skyscraper that housed Blackwood Industries, balancing a coffee cup in her laptop bag. She'd been working at the company for nearly a year now, but she still felt like an outsider among the polished executives and designer-clad assistants. Her blouse had a small tear in the sleeve, her heels were scuffed, and her black skirt had been hemmed so many times that the stitching was starting to show. She slipped into the elevator, exhaling slowly. And then Alexander stepped in. "Good morning," Alexander said, his deep voice steady as he stood beside her. Lily's heart skipped a beat. "Good morning, Mr. Blackwood." Alexander's gaze flicked toward the coffee cup in her hand. "Long night." Lily smiled faintly. "Nothing unusual." Alexander's lips twitched. "Impressive. I don't know how you keep up." Lily shrugged. "Coffee helps." The elevator stopped at the top floor. Alexander stepped aside, letting Lily exit first. "See you at the 10 a.m. meeting," Alexander said as he walked toward his office. Lily's gaze lingered on his back for a moment longer than necessary before she shook herself and hurried toward her desk. "Did you see that?" Rachel, Lily's closest work friend, slid into the chair next to Lily's desk. Rachel was a marketing assistant, perpetually underpaid and perpetually in the know about everything that happened at Blackwood Industries. "See what?" Lily asked. Rachel's eyes gleamed. "Alexander holding the elevator for you." Lily frowned. He was just being polite. Josh, who worked in finance and loved drama more than anyone Lily knew, appeared with a mischievous grin. "It's not just the elevator," he said. "He always talks to you." "He's my boss," Lily said patiently. Rachel smirked. "Sure." Josh's grin widened. "And Vanessa hates it." Lily sighed. "That's not my problem." Josh raised an eyebrow. "Have you met Vanessa?" "Unfortunately," Lily muttered. Rachel leaned in. "I heard Vanessa had a meltdown last week because Alexander asked you to proofread a contract instead of her." "Because I'm his secretary," Lily pointed out. Josh grinned. "Exactly." Lily was at her desk typing out Alexander's meeting notes, when a sharp, cold voice cut through the quiet. "Lily." Lily's stomach tightened. Fully she turned. Vanessa Pierce stood at the edge of her desk, her platinum blonde hair pulled into a sleek ponytail. She wore a designer white blazer and heels that probably cost more than Lily's entire paycheck. "Great. Just what I needed, the demon queen in human form." "Yes, Miss Pierce?" Lily asked carefully. Vanessa's smile was pure ice. "I need you to pick up my dress for tonight's charity gala." Lily's brow furrowed. "I don't." "Alexander mentioned you're very efficient," Vanessa said sweetly. "I'm sure you can handle it." Lily's mouth opened, but she caught herself. This was dangerous territory. "Careful, Lily. One wrong word and she'll have you banished to the basement." "Of course," Lily said stiffly. Vanessa's smile sharpened. "Wonderful." She turned and walked away. Lily sighed and rubbed her temples. Rachel appeared at her side a moment later. "Did the Ice Queen give you another errand?" "Yes." Rachel's eyes widened. "Are you going to do it?" Lily rubbed her temples. "Do I have a choice?" Rachel's expression darkened. "She's playing you." "I know," Lily muttered. Josh leaned over from the next desk. "Maybe Alexander will save you." Lily shook her head. "He's not going to get involved." Later that evening, Lily stood at the edge of the ballroom, clutching a clipboard. She had helped arrange the charity event and had barely eaten all day, but everything was running smoothly, until Vanessa showed up. Vanessa wore a sleek red dress that hugged her slender figure. She looped her arm through Alexander's as they made their way toward the VIP section. Alexander's expression was unreadable. He didn't look particularly thrilled to be there. Lily turned toward the back when Vanessa's voice cut through the noise. Lily. Lily's shoulders tensed. Slowly she turned. Could you bring me a glass of champagne? Vanessa said sweetly. Seriously? You can't walk 5 feet to the bar with those mile-long legs? Lily opened her mouth, but Vanessa's smile sharpened. You don't mind, right? Lily's jaw tightened. I mind. I mind so much I could scream. Of course not, Lily said sweetly. Rachel appeared at her side the second Vanessa turned away. Unbelievable, Rachel hissed. It's fine, Lily said through clenched teeth. Rachel's eyes narrowed. If Alexander saw that. He didn't, Lily cut in. Rachel's gaze softened. You shouldn't have to put up with this. It's not worth the fight, Lily said. Rachel studied her for a long moment before finally shaking her head. You're a saint, Rachel muttered. Lily was gathering her things when Alexander's voice startled her. You're still here. Lily turned. Alexander stood near her desk, his jacket draped over one shoulder. I had a few things to finish, Lily said. Alexander's gaze softened. You don't have to do everything yourself. Lily smiled faintly. That's my job. Alexander's mouth twitched. Go home, Lily, Alexander said softly. Lily hesitated, then nodded. Good night, Mr. Blackwood. Alexander's gaze softened. Good night, Lily. Lily Morgan had a gift for compartmentalization. She had to, really, otherwise she would have walked out of Blackwood Industries months ago. It wasn't the job itself that was hard. Handling Alexander Blackwood's schedule and managing corporate chaos? That was easy. The problem was Vanessa Pierce. Vanessa had turned Lily's life into a never-ending episode of Survivor. And the worst part? Alexander had no idea. He had no clue that his perfectly polished fiancée was using Lily as her personal assistant. Lily sighed as she walked into the office building, clutching a coffee cup that was already half empty. She had been up until midnight working on Alexander's latest contract revisions, and then Vanessa had texted at 1 a.m. asking her to confirm a spa appointment. It wasn't even Lily's job. But could she say no? Not unless she wanted to lose the only stable income keeping her from living on instant noodles forever. Lily stepped off the elevator onto the executive floor and spotted Rachel and Josh huddled near the coffee machine. Josh grinned when he saw her. She lives. Rachel leaned in. You look like you slept in a dumpster. Thank you, Lily deadpanned. Josh snorted. Long night. You have no idea. Rachel narrowed her eyes. Vanessa. Lily rubbed her temples. She texted me at 1 in the morning. Josh whistled. What does she even do at 1 a.m.? Apparently stress about her skin, Lily muttered. She needed me to confirm her facial appointment. Rachel's jaw dropped. You are not her personal assistant. Lily sighed. Tell that to her. Josh's eyes gleamed. Did Alexander say anything about it? Lily shook her head. No. He has no idea. Rachel frowned. Why don't you tell him? Lily raised a brow. And get fired? Rachel scoffed. Alexander wouldn't fire you. Josh grinned. He likes you. Lily rolled her eyes. He's my boss. Rachel smirked. Sure. Lily was at her desk reviewing Alexander's schedule when his office door opened. Lily. Her stomach fluttered involuntarily. Stop it. She stood and followed Alexander into his office. He was wearing a tailored navy suit today, his dark hair slightly tousled like he had just run his fingers through it. Alexander leaned against his desk, studying her. Did you get any sleep? Lily's brain went haywire. How does he know that? Did I look that bad? I'm fine, she said, plastering on her best professional smile. Alexander's brow furrowed slightly. You don't look fine. He thanks. Let me just go throw myself in front of traffic now. I'm managing, Lily said smoothly. Alexander's gaze softened. If you need to adjust your workload. I don't. Alexander studied her for a long moment. His gaze was so steady, so intense that Lily felt herself flushing. Don't blush. Don't blush. Let me know if that changes, Alexander said finally. Lily nodded. Of course. She turned to leave, but then Alexander's voice stopped her. Oh, and Lily? She turned. Good work on the contract revisions, Alexander said. You caught things my legal team missed. Lily's stomach twisted. Praise from Alexander Blackwood? Am I dreaming? She forced a smile. It's my job. Alexander's mouth twitched. And you do it well. Lily's cheeks flushed as she quickly exited the office. Hey brain. Calm down. He's your boss. Your very hot, very intense boss. Who is also engaged. To a psychopath. Nothing to see here. You're blushing, Rachel said, stabbing at her salad with a plastic fork. I'm not blushing, Lily muttered. Josh grinned. Oh, you totally are. Rachel smirked. What did Alexander say? Lily hesitated. He said I caught things the legal team missed. Rachel's eyes widened. He complimented you? It's not a big deal, Lily insisted. Josh's mouth curled. It's a huge deal. Rachel leaned in. You know what this means? That I'm good at my job? That he trusts you, Rachel said knowingly. Lily sighed. He's engaged. Josh rolled his eyes. Engaged is not married. Lily scowled. You two are not helping. Josh's grin widened. We're not trying to. Lily was walking back from the copier when Vanessa appeared in the hallway. Lily. Lily froze. Oh God, what now? Vanessa's smile was saccharine sweet. I need you to handle a little problem for me. Lily sighed. What kind of problem? Vanessa leaned closer, her eyes sharp. Alexander's father's birthday is coming up. I need you to organize the guest list and coordinate the catering. Lily's eyes widened. That's not really. You don't mind, do you? Vanessa's smile sharpened. Lily's jaw tightened. I mind so much I could scream. Of course not, Lily said flatly. Vanessa's smile widened. Good girl. Lily's brain exploded. I am going to burn this entire building to the ground. Lily was updating Alexander's calendar when his office door opened. Lily. She stood and walked toward him. Yes, Mr. Blackwood? Alexander's gaze sharpened. You've been working late. Lily smiled faintly. That's part of the job. Alexander's mouth tightened. I don't want you burning yourself out. Lily's heart did an embarrassing somersault. Why does he have to say stuff like that? I can handle it, she said. Alexander's gaze softened. I know you can. Lily's chest tightened. Anything else? Alexander's eyes lingered on her for a long moment. No. She turned to leave. Oh, and Lily? She turned back. Alexander's mouth curved into a faint smile. Take a break sometime. Lily forced a smile. I'll try. Yeah, right. Right after I survive Vanessa's next nightmare errand. That evening, Lily was just about to leave when her phone buzzed. Vanessa's name flashed on the screen. Lily groaned. You've got to be kidding me. Rachel peeked over the desk. Don't answer it. She'll make my life hell, Lily muttered. Josh smirked. And? Lily sighed and answered the call. Vanessa's sharp voice cut through the line. Lily, I need you to confirm my dress fitting tomorrow at noon. Lily's jaw tightened. I have work. Vanessa's voice turned frosty. You'll figure it out. Lily closed her eyes. I hate her. I hate her so much. Fine, Lily said flatly. Good, Vanessa purred. I knew I could count on you. Lily hung up and buried her face in her hands. Josh whistled. Wow. She's worse than I thought. Rachel leaned in. You need to tell Alexander. Lily sighed. He doesn't need to know. Rachel's eyes narrowed. He's going to find out eventually. Lily's chest tightened. Not if I can help it. Lily Morgan was not a jealous person. Or at least that's what she told herself every time she saw Vanessa Pierce clinging to Alexander Blackwood like a designer handbag. But lately, things had changed. Alexander wasn't looking at Vanessa the way he used to. He wasn't answering her calls. He had started cutting their dinners short, canceling events and making excuses to avoid her entirely. Vanessa noticed. And Lily knew, when Vanessa noticed something, bad things tended to happen. And since Lily was the easiest target in the building, she knew exactly where Vanessa's rage would be directed. Okay, spill, Rachel said, leaning on Lily's desk with a manic gleam in her eyes. Lily sighed. Spill what? Rachel's brows shot up. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the fact that Alexander skipped Vanessa's charity gala again? Josh slid into the chair next to Rachel, grinning like a Cheshire cat. It's true. Apparently, Vanessa showed up alone and told everyone that Alexander was dealing with business. Rachel scoffed. Dealing with business, my ass. He's avoiding her. Lily's heart tightened. It's not my business. Rachel grinned. Sure, honey. Josh smirked. It's funny though, isn't it? He never skips work events. Lily forced a smile. Maybe he's busy. Rachel snorted. Busy staring at you, maybe. Josh nodded. Yeah, Vanessa probably sees that too. Lily's stomach twisted. It's not like that. Rachel's gaze sharpened. It's starting to look like it. Josh grinned. Vanessa's going to lose her mind. Lily was standing outside the conference room, holding Alexander's schedule when he walked up beside her. Morning, Alexander said. Lily's heart gave a traitorous flutter. Morning. Alexander's gaze flicked toward the schedule in her hands. Board meeting still at 10? Yes, Lily replied. And the quarterly call is rescheduled for Thursday. Alexander's mouth curved faintly. Good. Lily hesitated. Vanessa called earlier. Alexander's expression darkened. I know. She asked if you were coming to the charity auction next weekend, Lily said carefully. Alexander's jaw tightened. I'm not. Lily's breath caught. You always go. Alexander's gaze softened. Not this time. Lily's chest tightened. Oh God. Let me know if she contacts you again, Alexander said. Lily frowned. Why? Alexander's eyes darkened. Just let me know. Lily's stomach twisted. This is bad. It happened 2 days later. Lily was in the office washroom adjusting her hair in the mirror when the door swung open. She knew who it was even before Vanessa's reflection appeared in the glass. Lily. Lily's stomach sank. She sighed and turned slowly. Miss Pierce. Vanessa was wearing a form-fitting white dress and a pair of red heels that Lily was pretty sure cost more than her rent. Her blonde hair was perfectly styled, and her red lips were curved into a dangerous smile. We need to talk, Vanessa said sweetly. Lily turned back toward the mirror, smoothing a loose strand of hair. I'm working. Vanessa's smile sharpened. This won't take long. Lily sighed. What is it? Vanessa stepped closer. You're getting too comfortable with Alexander. Lily's jaw tightened. Excuse me. Vanessa's eyes flashed. Do you think I don't notice the way he looks at you? Lily forced a laugh. He's my boss. Vanessa's gaze darkened. Exactly. And you're crossing a line. Lily's pulse kicked up. With all due respect, Miss Pierce, I think you're imagining things. Vanessa's smile disappeared. Do you? Yes. Vanessa's eyes glinted with something sharp. Let me make this simple. Stay away from Alexander. Lily's hands curled into fists. Oh hell no. Or what? Lily said, her voice cool. Vanessa's smile sharpened. Or I'll make sure you don't work here anymore. Lily's eyes narrowed. You don't have that power. Vanessa's smile widened. Oh sweetie, when Alexander and I are married, I absolutely will. Lily's heart hammered painfully, but she forced herself to remain calm. That's cute, Lily said. But until you have the ring, you're not my boss. Vanessa's gaze darkened. Careful, Lily. I'm always careful, Lily said smoothly. Then she turned and walked out of the restroom, leaving Vanessa fuming behind her. Lily barely made it to her desk before Vanessa stormed into the office. Everyone turned toward the sound of her heels clicking aggressively against the floor. Vanessa marched directly to Lily's desk, her arms crossed. You need to quit. Lily's head snapped up. Excuse me. You heard me, Vanessa said coldly. You need to leave. Rachel and Josh's heads shot up from the next desk. The office fell silent. I'm not quitting, Lily said evenly. Vanessa's smile sharpened. Do you think Alexander is going to protect you? Lily's pulse raced. I'm doing my job. Vanessa's eyes flashed. Your job is over. Lily's chest tightened. Oh God. She's really lost it. I'm not leaving, Lily said stiffly. Vanessa stepped closer. You're not special, Lily. Lily's fists curled. I think Alexander would disagree. Vanessa's mouth twisted. Leave. Now. No, Lily said evenly. You think you matter to him? Vanessa hissed. Yes. Vanessa's eyes widened, just as a familiar voice cut through the office. That's enough. Lily's heart slammed against her ribs. Alexander stood near the entrance, his dark green eyes cold and sharp. His gaze narrowed dangerously on Vanessa. Alex, Vanessa started. I said that's enough. Alexander strode toward them, his eyes hard. Vanessa's expression softened. Darling, we were just. No, Alexander said coolly. You were harassing my employee. Vanessa's mouth opened. I was. She is doing her job, Alexander said sharply. And you are creating a scene. Vanessa's eyes flashed. You're defending her? Yes, Alexander said without hesitation. Vanessa's face burned red. She's trying to come between us. No, Alexander said coldly. You are. Vanessa's jaw dropped. Excuse me. Alexander's eyes were pure steel. Leave. Vanessa's chest heaved. You can't mean that. Alexander's gaze darkened. Get out. Vanessa's face twisted with rage, but when Alexander's expression didn't soften, she whirled around and stalked toward the elevator. The second the doors closed behind her, the office burst into whispers. Alexander's gaze softened as he turned toward Lily. Are you all right? Lily's heart hammered painfully. Yes. Alexander's eyes lingered on her face. If she bothers you again, Alexander said softly, you tell me. Lily's breath hitched. All right. Alexander's gaze sharpened. Good. He turned toward the rest of the office. Back to work. Lily watched him walk back to his office, her heart racing. Rachel slid up next to her, grinning like a lunatic. Oh my God, Rachel whispered. That was insane. Josh grinned. Did you see his face? He was ready to murder her. Lily's heart was still racing. She was in so much trouble. Next day in office, Lily Morgan got the know about the work trip with Alexander. She knew this was a terrible idea. A work trip. Alone. With Alexander Blackwood. No way. She said in her mind. It was one thing to spend long hours with him in the office, where there were people and glass walls and professional boundaries. But a work trip? With hotels and late-night meetings in close proximity? That was dangerous. Alexander was already starting to feel like too much. He was looking at her differently now. He was noticing things. And Lily wasn't sure how much longer she could pretend it wasn't affecting her. And to make things worse, Vanessa knew. Lily wasn't sure how, but Vanessa always knew. And if Lily survived this trip without Vanessa's wrath crashing down on her, it would be nothing short of a miracle. The flight was uncomfortable. Not because of the seats, they were flying first class obviously, but because of Alexander's closeness. Lily had tried to sit as far from him as possible, but Alexander had leaned over during takeoff, his shoulder brushing against hers. Relax, Alexander said. Lily's hands tightened on the armrest. I'm fine. Alexander's gaze lingered on her face. You don't look fine. Lily forced a smile. It's just a long day. Alexander's mouth curved faintly. We haven't even started. Lily's stomach tightened. The meetings went smoothly enough. Alexander was professional as always, calm, controlled, and impossibly sharp in every negotiation. Lily kept her head down, took notes, and ignored the flutter in her chest every time Alexander's hand brushed against her arm when he handed her papers. After the final meeting, Alexander turned toward her. Dinner, he asked. Lily's stomach flipped. We have another meeting tomorrow. Alexander's brow lifted. And? Lily hesitated. I think I'll just order room service. Alexander studied her for a long moment. All right. Lily quickly turned and walked toward the elevators. Distance. That was the key. But the problem was, Alexander didn't seem interested in distance anymore. Lily breathed a sigh of relief when they got back to the office the following Monday. Distance. Boundaries. Professionalism. That was her plan. But Alexander seemed off. He was watching her more closely, stopping by her desk more often. His hand lingered on her shoulder when he leaned over to check a report. Lily's pulse raced every time. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. But there was a problem. Alexander had started to pull away from Vanessa. And Vanessa was noticing. It was nearly 9 p.m. Lily was at her desk, typing out a report, when Alexander's voice startled her. You're still here. Lily jumped and turned. Alexander was standing at the edge of the office, his jacket slung over one shoulder. "I'm almost done," Lily said quickly. Alexander's brow furrowed. "I'll drive you home." Lily's heart raced. "That's not necessary." Alexander's gaze softened. "I insist." Lily hesitated. "Really, it's fine." Alexander's mouth twitched. "Stop arguing." Lily's chest tightened. Suddenly the elevator dinged. Lily's stomach twisted. The doors opened and Vanessa stepped out. She was wearing a tight black dress and heels that clicked dangerously against the marble floor. Her blonde hair was loose around her shoulders and her eyes were sharp and cold. "Alex," Vanessa said sweetly. Lily froze. Alexander's gaze darkened. "What are you doing here?" Alexander's voice was sharp. Vanessa's smile widened. "I was just in the area." Alexander's mouth tightened. "Leave." Vanessa's gaze shifted toward Lily. "You didn't tell me you were working late," Vanessa said softly. Alexander's eyes narrowed. "I don't need to report my schedule to you." Vanessa's gaze sharpened. "Of course not." Vanessa took a step toward Lily. "And you," Vanessa said sweetly. "So hardworking. Staying late. Spending all that time with my fiance." Lily's stomach twisted painfully. "We're working." Vanessa's smile sharpened. "Is that what we're calling it?" Lily's chest tightened. "Excuse me. You think I don't see it?" Vanessa's voice sharpened. "The way you look at him. The way he looks at you." Lily's jaw tightened. "You're imagining things." Vanessa's smile disappeared. "Oh, sweetie. I don't imagine things." She stepped closer. "You think you can take him from me?" Lily's pulse spiked. "That's not." "You're pathetic," Vanessa sneered. Lily's hands curled into fists. "We're working." Vanessa's smile sharpened. "Then why does he look at you like you're the only person in the room?" Lily's breath hitched. Vanessa's gaze darkened. "You ruined everything." Before Lily could react, Vanessa raised her hand. And then Alexander was there. He stepped between them, his hand wrapping around Vanessa's wrist before it could connect with Lily's face. Vanessa's eyes widened. "Alex." Alexander's gaze was lethal. "Are you insane?" Vanessa's mouth opened. "She." Alexander's grip tightened. "Whatever this is, it ends now." Vanessa's eyes widened. "Alex." "I don't want you near me," Alexander said coldly. "I don't want you in this office. And I especially don't want you anywhere near Lily." Vanessa's mouth parted. "You can't mean that." "I do." Alexander's eyes were hard. "Get out." Vanessa's face twisted with rage. "Alex." "Get out." Vanessa's chest heaved. For a moment, Lily thought she might lunge at him. But then Vanessa's face crumpled with rage. "You'll regret this," Vanessa hissed. "No," Alexander said coldly. "I won't." Vanessa's gaze sharpened toward Lily. "You're going to ruin him." Lily's pulse raced. "I didn't." Alexander's voice sharpened. "Leave." Vanessa's mouth twisted. Then she turned and stormed toward the elevator. The second the doors closed behind her, Alexander's shoulders relaxed. He turned toward Lily. "Are you all right?" Lily's heart hammered painfully. Yes." Alexander's gaze softened. "You don't have to deal with that anymore." Lily's chest tightened. "Why did you do that?" Alexander's expression sharpened. "Because I'm not going to let her hurt you." Lily's breath hitched. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," Alexander said. His gaze softened. "You matter to me." Lily's chest tightened painfully. Lily started. Alexander smiled faintly. "Go home, Lily." Lily hesitated. Then she nodded. She picked up her bag and turned toward the elevator. Her heart was still racing. But Lily wasn't going to let herself get comfortable. Not yet. Lily Morgan should have felt relieved. Vanessa was gone. After months of passive-aggressive comments, cruel manipulations and thinly veiled threats, Alexander had finally put an end to it. He had defended Lily in front of the entire office, told Vanessa to stay away from him, and most importantly, to stay away from Lily. It should have been over. Except it didn't feel over. Because now there was nothing standing between Lily and Alexander. And that was the real problem. Lily sat at her desk trying to concentrate on the financial report in front of her. But her mind kept wandering back to Friday night, to the sound of Alexander's voice when he told Vanessa to leave. "I don't want to see you around Lily anymore." Rachel appeared at her desk looking far too excited for a Monday morning. "Morning," Rachel chirped. Lily groaned. "Why are you so cheerful?" Rachel slid into the seat across from her. "Because I heard from accounting that Vanessa officially pulled out of the Blackwood Charity Committee." Lily's brows lifted. "Really?" Josh appeared from the other side of the cubicle holding a cup of coffee. "And you know what else?" "What?" Josh grinned. "Vanessa has been officially removed from the guest list for the annual shareholder gala." Lily's eyes widened. "Alexander did that?" Josh nodded. "Seems like it." Rachel's eyes gleamed. "And do you know what that means?" Lily frowned. "What?" Rachel smirked. "Vanessa is done." Lily's chest tightened. "I don't know about that." Josh grinned. "Oh, come on. Alexander literally told her to get out. That's not exactly a good sign for their relationship." Lily shook her head. "I'm just his assistant." Rachel scoffed. "Sure, honey." Josh's mouth curled. "You really think Alexander would defend just anyone?" Lily's stomach twisted painfully. "It's not like that." Rachel's brow lifted. "Isn't it?" Lily sighed. "I'm not getting involved." Just as they were talking, Alexander called Lily in his cabin just as she went inside. Vanessa came to behind her. She stood in the cabin doorway, her face pale, her eyes red. "Alex," Vanessa said, her voice strained. Alexander's gaze sharpened. "What are you doing here?" Vanessa's mouth twisted. "We need to talk." Alexander's jaw tightened. "No, we don't." Vanessa's eyes darkened. "Please." Alexander's gaze flicked toward Lily. "Give us a moment." Lily's chest tightened painfully. "Of course." She slipped past Vanessa, her heart hammering. Lily stood near the break room, clutching her tablet and trying not to think about what Vanessa was saying to Alexander. Rachel appeared at her side. "What's happening?" Lily sighed. Vanessa showed up. Rachel's brows lifted. "Seriously?" Josh appeared behind them. "What does she want?" "I don't know," Lily said. "Alexander told me to leave." Rachel's gaze sharpened. "That's interesting." Lily's stomach tightened painfully. "It's none of my business." Rachel scoffed. "Oh, honey, it absolutely is." Alexander's door is slightly open and voices can't be heard. Vanessa swept out, her face twisted with rage. Alexander followed her, his expression dark and cold. "Alex." "We're done," Alexander said, his voice sharp. Vanessa's eyes widened. "You don't mean that." Alexander's gaze darkened. "Yes, I do." Vanessa's eyes flashed toward Lily. "Because of her?" Alexander's jaw tightened. "This is not about Lily." Vanessa scoffed. "Then what is it about?" Alexander's gaze sharpened. "It's about the fact that I don't love you." Lily's breath hitched. Vanessa's face twisted. "You're going to regret this." Alexander's gaze hardened. "No, I won't." Vanessa's chest heaved. "You're making a mistake." Alexander's gaze was cold. "Leave." Vanessa's jaw clenched. "Fine." She whirled around and stalked toward the elevator. The door slid closed behind her. Alexander exhaled. The office was dead silent. Alexander's gaze shifted toward Lily. "Are you all right?" Alexander asked softly. Lily's heart raced. "I'm fine." Alexander's gaze softened. "Good." Alexander's gaze lingered on Lily. Then he turned toward the office. "Get back to work," Alexander said calmly. The office slowly returned to normal. Rachel leaned toward Lily. "Well, that's one way to end an engagement." Lily's chest tightened. Rachel grinned. "So, what now?" Lily's stomach flipped. "I have no idea." The next day Alexander was different. Lily noticed it immediately. He was calmer, more focused, but he was also looking at her more often. Lily was typing out a contract when Alexander's voice startled her. "Lily." She turned. Alexander stood near the door to his office. "Join me for lunch," Alexander said. Lily's heart hammered. "Lunch?" Alexander's mouth curled faintly. "Yes." Lily hesitated. "This is work-related?" Alexander's gaze darkened. "No." Lily's breath hitched. I don't know if that's a good idea, Lily said. Alexander's brow lifted. Why? You're not engaged anymore, Lily said carefully. Alexander's gaze softened. Exactly. Lily's stomach tightened. Just lunch, Alexander said. Lily swallowed. All right. Alexander smiled faintly. Good. That evening, Lily lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Vanessa was gone. Alexander wasn't engaged anymore. And Alexander was paying attention to her. This was dangerous. But Lily wasn't sure if she had the strength to stop it anymore. Lily Morgan was losing her mind. That was the only reasonable explanation for what was happening. Because Alexander Blackwood, her boss, her devastatingly attractive, wildly successful, maddeningly charming boss, had been looking at her differently ever since Vanessa left. And not in a thank you for being such a competent employee way. No. Alexander was looking at her like he wanted her. Which was insane. Completely ridiculous. Because Alexander Blackwood didn't want people. People wanted him. He was the kind of man who had women throwing themselves at him. He could have anyone. So why was he looking at her like that? And more importantly, why was Lily's brain short-circuiting every time he did? Lily was sitting at her desk trying very hard to pretend her brain wasn't malfunctioning. It was fine. Everything was fine. Alexander had asked her to dinner. That didn't mean anything. Sure, he'd looked at her like he wanted to devour her afterward, but that could mean anything. It was probably just lingering tension from Vanessa's meltdown. That was all. Totally normal. Rachel appeared at her desk, grinning. Oh my God, Rachel said, plopping down in the chair next to Lily's. Did you see him this morning? Lily frowned. See who? Rachel's eyes gleamed. Alexander. Lily's stomach tightened. What about him? Rachel leaned in. He was wearing that navy suit. The one that makes him look like a James Bond villain. Lily sighed. Rachel. And, Rachel continued, he was looking for you. Lily's heart skipped. What? Josh appeared from the other side of the cubicle. Oh yeah. He was definitely looking for you. Lily's pulse hammered. He was probably just checking on the schedule. Josh smirked. Sure. Rachel grinned. You're so screwed. Lily rubbed her temples. It's not like that. Rachel's brow lifted. Then what's it like? Lily opened her mouth, but before she could answer, Alexander's deep voice cut through the office. Lily. Her heart stopped. She turned. Alexander was standing near his office door, his green eyes dark and focused on her. Come with me, Alexander said. Lily's breath hitched. Josh grinned. Oh honey. You're done for. Lily stepped into Alexander's office, feeling painfully aware of how large it was, and how alone they were. Alexander was standing near the window, hands in his pockets. His gaze sharpened when he saw her. Close the door, Alexander said softly. Lily's stomach twisted. Is everything okay? Alexander's gaze darkened. Sit. Lily hesitated, then sat on the edge of the leather chair. Alexander studied her for a long moment. You've been avoiding me, Alexander said. Lily's mouth opened. Alexander's gaze sharpened. Am I wrong? Lily's chest tightened. I'm just trying to keep things professional. Alexander's lips curled faintly. Professional. Lily's face heated. Yes. Alexander's gaze darkened. You think that's possible? Lily's brain short-circuited. What? Alexander stepped toward her. Lily's heart hammered painfully. I've given you clues, Alexander said softly. Lily's pulse spiked. Clues. Alexander's gaze softened. Lily. Her breath hitched. Yes. Alexander's mouth curved. Do you really think I'm asking you to dinner because of work? Lily's heart stopped. Her brain was screaming. Nope. This is not happening. Lily's mouth opened. I thought. Alexander smiled faintly. You thought what? Lily's cheeks burned. I thought you were just being polite. Alexander's eyes flashed. Polite. Lily forced herself to breathe. I'm your assistant. Alexander's mouth curved dangerously. Not to me. Lily's pulse skyrocketed. I'm going to die. Right here in this chair. Alexander leaned down slightly. You didn't notice? Lily's chest tightened painfully. Notice what? Alexander's gaze darkened. How I look at you. Lily's throat tightened. Alexander's voice softened. I've given you clues, Lily. And you still don't understand. Lily's brain. What the actual hell is happening right now? Alexander leaned down, his face inches from hers. You matter to me, Alexander said softly. Lily's breath hitched. Alexander's gaze sharpened. Do you understand now? Lily's heart was racing so fast it physically hurt. She shot up from the chair. You can't just say things like that. Alexander's brow lifted. Why not? Because you're you. Lily's voice cracked. Alexander's mouth curved. And you're you. Lily's hands curled into fists. This is crazy. Alexander's gaze darkened. Is it? Lily's breath hitched. And then Alexander reached for her. He pulled her toward him, his hands curling around her waist. Lily's heart stopped. Oh my God. Tell me to stop, Alexander said. Lily's mouth opened. She didn't say anything. Lily, Alexander whispered. And then she snapped. Her hands shot up, curling around his collar. She pulled him down, her mouth crashing against his. Alexander made a low sound and immediately pulled her closer. His hand slid into her hair, tilting her head as he kissed her harder. Alexander's mouth was hot and demanding. His other hand curled around her waist, dragging her closer. Lily's knees buckled. Alexander caught her. His mouth softened slightly, teasing hers as he deepened the kiss. Lily's brain error. System failure. Alexander's mouth left hers just long enough for him to whisper, You get it now? Lily gasped. Yes. Alexander smiled faintly. Good. And then he kissed her again. Lily's hands slid into his hair, her heart slamming painfully against her chest. Alexander's mouth left hers, trailing kisses down her jaw. Lily's brain. This is not real. Alexander's hand slid to her hip. I've wanted this for a long time. Lily's breath hitched. You have. Alexander smiled faintly. Yes. Lily pulled back slightly, her heart pounding. Why didn't you say something? Alexander's eyes softened. I was waiting for you to figure it out. Lily's jaw dropped. That's ridiculous. Alexander's mouth curled. Maybe. Lily's chest tightened. And Vanessa? Alexander's gaze sharpened. That was over long before I said it. Lily's stomach flipped. Alexander's hand slid along her jaw. You matter to me, Lily. Lily's heart squeezed painfully. And now, Alexander said softly, you finally understand. Lily swallowed hard. Say something, Alexander whispered. Lily's chest tightened painfully. Then she launched herself at him. Alexander caught her, his arms wrapping around her waist as she kissed him again. Lily's brain was screaming. This is real. This is happening. Alexander smiled against her mouth. I get it now, Lily whispered. Alexander's lips curved. Good. And then he kissed her hard. Lily's heart soared. She didn't know what came next. But she knew one thing. Alexander wasn't her boss anymore. And she wasn't running away from this. That night, Lily lay awake in bed, her lips still tingling. Her phone buzzed with a new message. Alexander. Dinner tomorrow? Lily's heart hammered. Lily, yes. Alexander. I'm not letting you go now. Lily smiled. Lily, good. The